Hey, what's going on, guys? Butterbar here. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another Division 2 video. So Massive did their state of the game today. We got a lot of juicy information about PvP as well as some nerfs and buffs to talents. Before I get into that, though, we actually have some really good announcements that the PTS is live on the PC. So if you're a PC player, you can go out there now and try the PTS and try out some of the changes that Massive is wanting to bring to the game. Again, you're going to see some of the changes to the nerfs and buffs of talents, and it's just definitely crazy to know that, man, we are going to be seeing a lot of different changes. If you're somebody like me that's been grinding a lot in this game to get the perfect setup that you want, the setup of your dreams of different talents and whatnot, you are going to be seeing a huge change in the PTS, and good heavens if this actually becomes live on the full game. But if you're somebody on the PC, you can try out all the changes that Massive is wanting to bring to this game through the PTS. So that was a big announcement today. Another announcement was the raid has been canceled for next week. We actually get to look forward to the raid for next month. Again, with all the different changes that Massive is wanting to make to the quality of life of the Division 2, we are going to be seeing a delay in some content in order for them to actually make some of the changes that they want for this game. Again, they are getting a lot of feedback from us as players, as fans of the game, that they're trying to cipher through of all the different things, and it's actually nice too that the patch for tomorrow's update actually addresses some of the things, some of the concerns that I had with the game. So again, it sucks that the raid is going to be delayed for May instead of next week, but again, I think looking forward ahead to all the feedback that they're getting, I think this is going to be a good change later in the future. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about some of the PvP changes that are going to be coming to the game that they addressed in the state of the game. But first, I want to talk to you guys about the patch notes for tomorrow. Yes, we already know about some of the changes that are going to be brought to the game for tomorrow's update, and actually reading through some of these patch notes, man, it makes me super excited because it mainly covers over the NPC problem that we've been seeing in the Division 2. Right now, if you don't know, the Division 2 has a huge problem when it comes to difficulties and the NPCs in the game. Some of them hurt, some of them hit really damn hard, and some of them have a lot of health, and this is actually addressed in this patch, and I do look forward to seeing some of these changes later in game tomorrow. Then hopefully, man, I really do hope that this makes a huge difference in the game. Alright, let's get into these patch notes. So first off, let's talk about the manipulation, the exploit that players have found, and this is a fix to where players were able to receive unlimited snitch heroic bounties. So I think Massive is pretty funny. They are pretty quick on being able to shut down exploits in their game where players are able to get a lot of XP or a lot of gear. So that was actually the first fix that was addressed in this patch note. So again, to me, it's extremely funny to see that that is shut down extremely fast in this game. Next up, they fixed an issue where players were being stuck after being revived. I know this is a problem for me, at least today. I got this thing where I got down, I tried to get back up. As soon as I got revived, I couldn't move, so I'm glad to see that that is being addressed in tomorrow's update. Alright, now let's get into the NPCs. So, lowered NPC damage and health above normal difficulties. Yes, thank you, please. This definitely needs to, us as players need to feel powerful, and right now in the Division, it does not feel powerful against the NPCs, especially going into the higher difficulty. So I'm happy to see that NPCs damage and health is being lowered above normal difficulty. Increased variety of NPCs spawned at higher difficulties, so you're going to be seeing a lot more different NPCs instead of just the basic foot soldiers, so that'll be kind of interesting to see. Difficulty has been significantly decreased in hard, moderately reduced in challenge, and barely reduced at all in heroic. And again, that is how it should be right now, because no matter if you're playing on hard, challenging, or heroic, dude, it is hard no matter what difficulty you're playing on. So I'm happy to see that that is being addressed in this update for tomorrow. Fix an issue related to elite NPC aggressiveness in heroic and alert level 4 control points. Again, in my opinion, I think hard, challenging, I mean, NPCs, regardless of what difficulty you're on, they're extremely aggressive. I mean, you can be shooting at an NPC, and the guy will just run right past you and flank from front to rear, and it's just like you're just blowing this dude away, and he's just running right past you, and you like barely any damage. So hopefully with the reduced damage, the reduced health, all those different types of things, hopefully with the reduced aggressiveness, it will make some of these game modes freaking a lot better. Because good lord, it's really rough right now. Last thing that's being addressed is reduce the damage of output of named bosses. So again, overall you're seeing a reduce in damage from NPCs as well as reduced health. So again, I really do think, at least in the DZ right now currently, NPCs are a perfect consistency, I guess, in the Dark Zone. They're really good. They deal a lot of damage. However, they're really easy to take down. I really do hope that we'd see that in the PvE environment instead of just in PvP in the Dark Zone. So hopefully with this update, with this patch, we do see a lot of good changes. So we'll have to wait till tomorrow, but at least some of the concerns that I had with the game are being addressed. Alright, now some of the changes that are going to be coming to the DZ as well as Conflict. However, I'm going to be going over some changes that they announced in the state of the game, but these are not in the patch notes for tomorrow. So these are changes that we're going to be seeing later on in the future. But again, if you are somebody that enjoys PvP, these are a lot of juicy information in here that you are going to be enjoying, whether you're playing in the DZ or in Conflict. And I'm going to be going over some of the big highlights that I saw in the state of the game. So first off, the equipment and weapons will be normalized to gear score 500. So if, you know, no matter what level you are, no matter what world tier you are, your gear score is going to be maxed out to 500. The one thing they also announced as well is that they're actually limiting how many how many matchmaking areas they have for the DZs. Right now, they have matchmaking 1 through 30. So if you're a player that's level 1 to 30, you're being matchmade just with those players in the DZ. The tier 1, world tier 1, that is a whole new matchmaking area, so you're just matchmaked with people in world tier 1. Same goes for 2, 3, 4, and 5. So right now, what they're wanting to do to make sure that the DZ is populated with people, they're actually breaking it down to just only 2 ways of matchmaking. They're going to have the 1 through 30 matchmaking, and then they're going to have the world tier, and that's it. So you're going to be seeing a lot of players now in the normalization DZs, so it's going to be really good. So if you're world tier 1, your gear score is going to be maximized to gear score 500 in the normalized DZ, so where you can actually play with people that are either world tier 4 or world tier 5. So that's a really good change. Skill power is being respected. So this is one thing too, that if you are in PvE and you have some really good mods that you have unlocked because of your gear score, but when you get normalized in the DZ, it actually shuts those mods off to where you can't use them. However, in this, in the changes that they want to make to the DZ, you're going to be able to still use those mods. It's still going to be carried over. So again, no matter if your score, your skill might be 1200, but you go to normalization, it's only like maybe 500. They are going to be honoring those mods that you have active in the PvE into the PvP normalized DZ. Really good things. I love seeing that they're going to be making some changes to how much damage can be dealt in PvP for the DZ. The real good thing is they're actually reducing damage from 70% that you deal right now to players in the DZ to 40%. So this is going to make conflicts, make firefights last a little bit longer. Right now, people are just downing people left and right in less than a second. So hopefully, at least with that little 30% decrease, fights might last just a little bit longer. But with at least builds right now, with the way they are, I mean, I doubt that's going to make a dent. But I'll be willing to check that out and see if it actually does make fights last a little bit longer. Hipfire has actually been changed a little bit in PvP. So right now in PvE, you can do hipfire and get crit hits. However, the change that they're wanting to make to the DZ as well as Conflict is that crit hits cannot happen when you are hipfiring. So they're kind of making that little bit of a change to people that are hipfiring in the game. I think that's really funny that they're making that type of change. I guess there is a lot of hipfiring going on in the game. Weapon archetypes modifiers. So one thing that they've actually addressed in the game is that they can actually buff up some of the archetypes of weapons. So ARs, SMGs, LMGs. If they're seeing that one weapon type, one archetype of weapons are being, really outgunned in a lot of ways, they can buff up others to kind of balance the way that weapons are working in the game. One of the examples was the ARs. So they could actually buff up all the ARs in the DZ and the PvP environments to be able to balance out with maybe SMGs being a little bit overpowered in it. So it's really interesting to see the different aspects of changes they're wanting to make to PvP overall, whether that be the DZ or in Conflict. Now for the DZ, some loot changes. So they've actually decreased the amount amount of times you're going to be seeing some clean loot of an increased more contaminated loot. So they're decreasing how many times you see clean, they're increasing how many you see that are contaminated, and this is really the aspect of this, is to increase more interaction with other players. They're wanting to make sure that you're having that PvP environment in the DZ, so hopefully with bringing in more extractions, you're going to be seeing a lot more players. And tell you right now, I mean, my personal experience, I've never seen anybody cut the lines to the extraction, so I'll be really interested to see if this actually helps out by bringing players together, now having a more contaminated loot instead of clean loot. Landmarks, the cooldowns have actually been increased, so now they're not going to be popping up immediately after you already take a landmark out. It's increased for about a minute, so you're going to be seeing some changes to that. NPCs in the Dark Zone will be less lethal, but they will have more armor, so they're going to be taking a little bit more damage. However, they will deal less damage to you, so you're not going to be dropped immediately, kind of how we actually see in the PvE environment. They're removing the rogue cooldown time when you die. I know that was one thing for me, at least in normalization. It sucked that you couldn't go rogue as soon as you walk through the door if you died, so it's really nice to see that that change is coming. Dark Zone perk was also changed with no longer reduced rogue timer cooldown, but you will lose less XP when you die as rogue. So because of that change to the rogue cooldown time, they've made a lose less XP to the DZ perk list. So that's really nice to see the little bit of changes to that. Dark Zone pouch increase, so the default right now is 6 items per bag, so you're gonna be seeing an increase to how many items you can actually load up, which is really nice. Character perks will also change. Tier 1 perk will increase the bag size to 8. Thank goodness, because it definitely, I mean, if there's more contaminated loot being dropped, I need a lot more loot in my bag. The Dark Zone perk will also increase the bag again to total of 8, or total of 10. So overall, as you're actually increasing in rank, the Dark Zone perks are going to allow you to actually increase how many contaminated items you can carry, which is really nice. And lastly, the biggest thing that they addressed in the DZ changes is that gear score 515 items will be dropping in the Dark Zone. So if you are, again, you're hunting down for the top tier gear score items, you're going to be able to get that in the Dark Zone at 515. That is the highest gear score that you can achieve right now in the game. So whenever this change comes to the game, the DZ will be the way to actually get those really high gear scores. I know a lot of people have been upset about this, and I completely understand the bickering about this, because you know, for players that are not wanting to do PvP, they're not going to be able to achieve 515 because it's only in the Dark Zone. So some people have been talking about how they would love to see not only, you know, PvP, you know, in the Dark Zone where you can get the 515 items, but maybe heroic missions or heroic difficulties also drop 515 as well. So it's a great change. If you're somebody that loves the Dark Zone, you want to chase after the highest gear score possible, 515 items are going to be dropping in the Dark Zone. However, if you're somebody that enjoys PvE, this is not a great change coming to the game. So hopefully later on, maybe heroic missions will actually drop 515, or maybe even the raid might be dropping 515 or higher items later in the future. So guys, those are the changes that we're going to be seeing tomorrow with tomorrow's patch. We're going to be seeing a lot of different changes coming to the NPCs in tomorrow's patch, as well as to DZ changes that we're going to be seeing later in the future. So really, I would love to know from you guys, what do you guys think about the changes that are going to be coming to tomorrow's update with the patch, as well as to what do you think about future updates to the DZ? I would love to know in the comments below. So let me know. Have a great rest of the day, guys, and I will see you guys all next time.